I think that a lot of people who are going to be watching this are going to connect with this, because if you build on top of a weak foundation, none of the training and insight and coaching and all the stuff realtors learn matters unless you have a foundation. What's something that you would say to all of these people about finding wellness and balance?
Oh gosh, self-care. If we don't take care of ourselves, we're going to die early. We're going to be unhappy. We're going to teach our kids unhappiness. And our life is not going to be joyful, and we're not going to get as much out of it. Self-care is really selfish things that you might think of as, I'm going to be selfish for a little while. It's not selfish.
Yeah.
Because you're actually taking care of your family when you're taking care of yourself.
Be selfish with your care so that you can be selfless in your service.
I love that.
So one of the ways I do self-care is I get vitamin D shots.
Okay.
There is not enough vitamin D in our environment.
Ohio, especially in the winter.
Exercise is like so key. What other things in self-care are like, hey, these are your go-tos. Try these first. What does that look like?
As far as self-care, like exercise, journaling, vacations, taking time alone.
Yeah.
Even people like us who are extroverts. Do you consider yourself an extrovert?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that we don't always think that alone time is necessary because being around people fills us up. But I have learned over the years, especially having children, that I need time alone. Breath is so important. Yeah. And the breath is important because it really just brings us back to our body and being aware of our body.
Yeah.
So it's not necessarily that the breath is the key to life. Of course, it's the key to life. But it makes us mindful of our body.
Yeah.
And so when we become mindful of our physical presence, our brain, our mind, our thoughts follow.
What are your learnings around mental health and the stigma around like counseling and mental health?
Yeah.
Like, what awarenesses or learnings have you had on the subject?
So again, it goes back to what our parents believed about wellness and self-care, and how in this time we kind of change things and we're taking that self-care back and we're seeing how beneficial that it is. Did I answer your question?
I don't even remember what the question was.
What's the question?
Really good realtors have the ability to navigate and kind of listen and be present to when someone is going through something that has nothing to do with buying the house. What tips do you have for real estate agents about how to support people going through very stressful times in their life looking to buy or sell a home?
I think not putting too much pressure on them, just being there when they need them. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because people go into the process with lots of hopes and dreams and expectations, not realizing how their own life might actually get in the way of that. We talk about stages of change and where you are. Pre-contemplation is the first step to change. Pre-contemplation.
Okay, what does that mean?
Pre-contemplation means I'm just thinking about making a change.
If the realtor distinguishes that they're in pre-contemplation, they could change the whole support system around how to provide value.
And to understand it from the real estate perspective too, and understand these people are probably not going to be buying a house anytime soon. So don't put all of your energy and your time into it.
Yeah.
Just offering them suggestions and not spending Sunday after Sunday after Sunday showing them houses.
Yeah. One of the ways in our business that we can distinguish when someone's in pre-contemplation versus like taking action is whether or not they've talked with a lender to get their pre-approval.
Oh, that's a good point. Contemplation is
What
the next stage. So pre-contemplation is where you're just thinking, I think I need to make a change.
Okay.
Contemplation is where you're thinking about putting in the actions to take the change, to take the steps necessary for the change.
Got it.
So pre-contemplation, you may not be calling a realtor yet. Contemplation, that's when you're calling a realtor and setting things up, but you still may not be ready to buy a house.
If you can't get in the shoes of the customer to know that they're in pre-contemplation, you presume they're in action.
Right.
And then everything feels like you're pushy.
Preparation comes third, where you're preparing. That's probably where you're looking up houses.
Pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action. what would that fifth one be?
It's maintenance, where you maintain the change that you've made. So I think that's harder to talk about with buying a house, because once you bought the house, you bought the house. But when you're talking about mental health, there's always maintenance that's involved.
So for those folks that are looking at this that want to really up their game on self-care, how do they utilize your services?
So they can contact me through my website, kuhrwellness.com.
Kuhr Wellness.
KUHR wellness.com. But a really good place to find practitioners is on Psychology Today.